All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy. Hi, everyone. My name is Amber Hoye, and I'm joined here by Terry Greene, and we'll do introductions here in just a second. But welcome to an ebook of one's own, creating open ePortfolio templates. A little bit about me. I'm the director of the World Languages Resource Center at Boise State University, and I get to work with over 10 different languages and faculty, staff, and students from all different language levels and really from around the world. And Terry, I'll pass it off to you for a quick introduction.
Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Greene. I only work in one language. I should probably work on that. I'm in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, also known as Nogo Jiwanong, and I'm the senior e-learning designer in the Trent Teaching Commons. And I'm happy to be here and happy to present with Amber, Ontario and Idaho. Obviously, a obvious connection. So this will be fun.
Okay.
All right,
So,
let's move. Are you ready?
yep, yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Yeah.
Is everybody ready for some learning objectives? You better be. All right. Here's what we're going to cover in the next 24 minutes. I'll tell you about the first two. We're going to identify challenges related to varying digital literacy levels, and we're going to explain openly licensed portfolio templates and their benefits. Amber?
Yep. And after we do those things, we're going to explore some strategies for how you might implement these templates and talk about promoting inclusivity and how we can empower all students.
Awesome. So let's tell the story of how we came together on this. I think would make be some good context here. So, um, my project came first. It's called an ebook of one's own, My Learning Journey. And it came about based on my love for and interest in the domain of one's own, which has been around for years. It's one of my favorite ed tech approaches ever. And I've always loved it, but it's been often difficult to convince a lot of others to try it out. It's been kind of niche, I think, maybe because it's a bit too hard digital fluency wise for a lot of people, instructors and students alike. So it's when people get uplifted into it and work at it, like it's endlessly valuable, but it's hard. The entry fees are too much sometimes. So um, I've always kind of been thinking about how to crack that nut, and I can't remember when exactly, but at one point, eCampus Ontario, which is a Ontario provincially funded organization that serves the colleges, universities, and Indigenous institutes of the province to uplift their digital fluency, digital literacy, digital capabilities, digital learning. Um, they offer press books across the province to the institutions, and they offered us and a few others specifically kind of a level up in that they offered us a single sign-on to Pressbooks opportunity, and just because we had used it a bunch through a few projects, and that's when like we're like, yes, we'll take it, and then we started to think about what we might do with it, and it kind of came to me at one day just that we could simplify domain of one's own into a press books, an ebook of one's own. Let's create something that is more plug and play, kind of more true, honestly, to the original room of one's own approach of here's a room, use it, not here's some land in the forest, clear off the forest, build your house, and then start to do your stuff. So we thought it might be a simpler approach to domain of one's own. And so I created a template that in Pressbooks that could be cloned easily and passed on to someone so that they could then kind of plug and play, start to put in their goal setting, put in their reflections, and put in their showcase work, and leave hopefully Trent with not just like a learning portfolio kind of thing, but also the book of their learning journey here at Trent. And honestly, all I've wanted in all this is to see a whole load of these student ebooks of their journey here at Trent. And I think that'd just be amazing to see and maybe offer like best of awards and all kinds of stuff eventually. Because I think it's a really great approach to centering the learners in their learning journey and maybe act a bit of as an antidote to the problems with the LMS. And so yeah, that's where we're at now. So at this point now we have the template, and we also have a getting up and running micro credential, a value add micro credential. It doesn't cost students any money. It's meant to help increase the value of their time here at Trent, and that's where we're at now. And so let's hear Amber's story.
Yeah. So in 2023, the American Association of Colleges and Universities, or AACU, came out with their latest report, which is called the Career Ready Graduate: What Employers Say About the Difference College Makes. And I'll put the link in chat if you haven't seen this. But this report offers a lot of valuable insights into some of the skills, the dispositions, and I would say like the experiences that employers prioritize. For today's context, I'm going to just hone in on what they say about ePortfolios, but I would really invite you to check out this report. So in the report, they say that employers are 65% more likely to consider a job candidate who has developed a portfolio of work showcasing skills and integrating college experiences. And frankly, it's not just employers. Graduate schools are also looking for this. It's becoming much more common for applicants when they fill out their packets to be asked to provide a sample of their work. And so I think it's really important for students to begin thinking about ePortfolios early on in their undergraduate careers and contribute to them regularly, tending and caring to them. So at Boise State, we first implemented ePortfolios using a tool called Digication. Not sure if that's still around. But then my department later decided to transition to WordPress. And WordPress provided a lot of better visual options, but there were some issues. The free account had ads, and there's still like some lingering challenges in making sure that students could create an ePortfolio that they were really proud of. I wanted to be able to offer a template for students, kind of like Terry was saying with this idea of a room. I don't want you to have to build your website from scratch. I want to be able to kind of gift you what you need so you can focus on the important elements, which are reflection and curation of artifacts. So I hadn't really thought about using Pressbooks, but then I saw a post from Terry on LinkedIn about an ebooks of one own. And I was just like really, really excited to investigate it because we have Pressbooks as a license for not only Boise State, but for the state of Idaho. And I knew it was a free tool. It was a tool that I felt like was pretty easy to use. So I decided to create a ePortfolio template that I contributed to the public domain. And the cool thing about that, the ebook of one's own is also under a public domain license or a CC0 license. It means that students can just take it and they can clone it and personalize it with ease. I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to show you what the ePortfolio template looks like for language majors. And I'm going to give you two student examples that you can look at on your own if you would like. Oh, and I'll make sure I put the link in again for the article. Sorry about that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully that looks okay on your end. But this is
Yep.
the template. Oh yeah, go ahead. Does it look okay, Terry, on your end?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Um, so this is a press book, and if we scroll down, you'll see that there are different sections. But the one thing that I really want to point out that might be helpful for anybody, not just folks who teach language majors, is this about the template section. So at the very beginning here, I have included tons of information on why an ePortfolio might be valuable, and it's written for the student perspective, right? So we could talk a lot about why ePortfolios are valuable for administrators and instructors, especially from like an assessment standpoint. We do use ePortfolios for that, but I would much rather talk about why it's valuable for students, right? Because they're the ones who are creating it, they're putting the love into it, and they're hopefully going to use it during their studies and after they graduate. So there's all kinds of different things on here. There's a H5P graphic here that talks about different types of artifacts, and I could see this easily being remixed for different disciplines. Information on how to write descriptions for artifacts, how to add different artifacts to your ePortfolio, and then suggestions for openly licensed photos and illustrations. So there's like tons of great resources in here, but students get this when they clone the ePortfolio template, and then they can just delete or hide it. So everything's built into that. And then I'm going to put in chat all of these resources for you. But I want you to be able to see two student examples. So I have permission to share those with you. And I thought it's really fun to be able to see what it looks like when somebody fills out the template.
All right. Thank you. Are you seeing the slides again?
Hmm. Yes, I am.
Awesome. Okay. This one, you're first, Amber.
Awesome. I'm getting the career ready graduate link really quick for everybody.
Sounds good.
Here's that. It's a very long link. But that should work. Let me know if you have any trouble with that. Yeah, so I kind of alluded to this a little bit in the showing you and the story of why we chose ePortfolios. But one of the things that students really run into in terms of being able to showcase their work is this idea of digital literacy. And I think the biggest challenge I have seen is that in our world language classes, we do a lot of different things with media, right? We want our students to make videos and infographics and really build their digital competence. But then they were running into so many issues trying to add these things onto their ePortfolio. So thing specifically like about Pressbooks is it's very easy to add photos, video, and audio recordings directly into the book. You can use the iframe tool with H5P. Happy to answer questions about that at the end, but to do Google Docs, to do Padlets, to do all sorts of different files. So students are really able to get everything in there and it's embedded so people aren't having to leave the ePortfolio. That's something I think is a really good user experience too, that, they can just view everything in one place.
Yeah, I find that very powerful. It centers you in your own learning journey rather than a Dropbox here, a Dropbox there is where you put the products of all your work. So I thought a challenge on it often is that there's too much choice and too many ways to go,
Mhm.
too much variance in where and how good the support you get is based on too much choice, and just basically probably a lack of confidence in what you can do based on the overwhelming lack of support and choice. So we're basically, I think the template approach is trying to take away some of the overwhelmingness, some choice, but also and focused support where we can actually give it to everybody. And that taking that all that away opens things up for lots of more instructors and students to maybe pursue using
Yeah.
these things. So we are probably have answered this question already, but why open templates? From an instructor perspective, I would say that you're offloading a lot of the technical support at Trent. We at in our unit support this, so instructors don't have to. Um, and also, I think it's a way to add a domain of one's own, ebook of one's own approach, a student-centered approach without having to really shift much of the pedagogy or even course design itself. All you really might need to do is know about it, offer this micro-credential to students, and um, maybe identify what's showcase work that students might want to think about putting in it. And I think that's pretty powerful. And from a student perspective, just to reiterate that I think it's more a truer room of one's own, not a forest that you have to knock down and build on. And a huge plus being increased connections across courses, across your work. And I think most valuably, you increase your own the value you give to your own work. It's not discarded, it's not deleted, it's kept. It's much more precious work, as it should be, I think. Go ahead, Amber.
Yeah, so to follow up on what you said, Terry, I think it's really, really nice to get to hit the ground running, and not have to spend so much time on the technical aspect. I can tell you when I was using WordPress, I was spending so much time after class with one-on-one sessions to help students who maybe didn't have as high of, digital literacy or competence to get them onboarded. And then they would run into issues that were really challenging for me to, especially if they've never knew nothing about website design to help them. And so just having this shell that I could say, okay, here you go, take this. You're going to go to the Pressbooks tool and clone it. Just been like, I think it's boosted their confidence too because they don't have to worry about all of that configuration stuff, which really takes a good amount of time. And then, because that they already have something given to them, I think they're much more likely to engage in tailoring it to their needs. Whereas if they have to build it from the ground up, they're like, I'm already so tired of like, I had to build my whole website. I don't really care. I'm just going to use it as is. Whereas if I gift them something, I think that they're like more likely to engage in tailoring it. At least that's what I've seen. I think students are having a lot more fun. They get to like make a cover and they get to write a bio and all of that good stuff.
The cover is the funnest part.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. This you we beforehand decided who goes first on each. This one's you, Amber. You're first.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this idea of being able to tailor it for all skill levels. Again, a student could take the template and just use it as is and come up with a really beautiful product. And that's great if they don't, they don't have the confidence or the time or, you know, the skill level to engage, but it also is like room to grow. So as they move on through their undergraduate career or as they build skills, it's really there for them to be able to add whatever they want and feel empowered. And again, it takes away from this idea of having to focus on the technical aspect, and we put more time on the reflection. And I always use this term like of curation when it comes to artifacts for them going out and purposely selecting the things that they want to use. I would much rather them spend time on that than building the thing, right?
Oh, 100%. I think I'm focusing here more on empowering students, but I think this approach empowers students in a way, but because the institution and the instructors themselves are showing excitement and value for the products of student work and uplifting it, and I think that empowers students to believe in their own work far more than what the way an LMS is traditionally built to devalue it. So I think that's powerful. Also, again, that we're empowering them by centering students in the middle of their own learning journey. And
Hmm.
I also think the way um, the the template promotes goal setting, showing showcase work, and reflecting, it itself really reinscribes the learning cycle. Thinking about what you want to learn, doing the learning, reflecting on the learning, and I think that's powerful as well.
And just to add to that too, Terry, I think it's another skill too to have sort of this personal reflection and then find a way to convey that to other people to do that kind of that storytelling aspect, and that's a skill that employers want. It's we know our students need to develop that, and so this is like kind of like some micro exercises with that, getting practice of like saying why does the work that I'm doing matter, and why should you check it out or why should you explore it.
Totally. All right.
So a couple. Oh yeah, sorry, Terry.
No, no, go ahead. You're first again.
So a couple of questions that we've gotten in chat are about privacy and security concerns. So I definitely want to talk about that. Within Pressbook, students are given many different privacy options, and they have that option to also switch that as their needs change. So right now in my course, some students, they might just have their book shared just with me. And that's totally fine. And then as they get, towards the end of the semester, they can turn it on so that it's publicly available or that only people with the link have access. They can choose not to have it show up in search engines. There's a lot of flexibility with that. And so I really appreciate that. And I also like too that they're able to add users to their portfolio. And that's nice because they can add me to the book. So if they have any questions, I can also just monitor their progress. They do that when they create their book in my course. But it's also really helpful if an instructor wants to go in and give feedback or help. And then they could even do that with group work, right? If they wanted to help each other out, that's an option too. And then another thing that I do is I also have students review the creators' rights that's listed in the Open Pedagogy Student Toolkit. I don't know how many of you have seen that, but I'm going to put that in chat because I really want them to understand, what happens. They get to choose a license for their press book, and we talk about that in class. But that's up to them, and there's no penalty for the license that they choose. I've had students who have put things in the public domain to students who have chosen to keep it, just a normal copyright license.
And as for incentives for using these tools, I think I'm going to give it from three perspectives. I think from the institution, the incentive is that you could, we got 5 minutes. Um, you could, as an institution, you can really kind of increase your reputation as a place where student work is valued and authentic learning happens. I find that very a big incentive for instructors. I think there's huge opportunity for community building and supporting your students' learning experience. And from students, it's a way to give them an authentic audience, increased ownership and agency in their work, networking opportunities, collaborative opportunities. I think it's endless, and just maybe like self-promotion in a good way is very valuable. I see a quick question. What about access after graduation? At Trent, you can create maintain access indefinitely as long as you maintain your alumni email account.
Same
And
with
I
Boise
think,
State.
yeah, you just have to send them an email once a year or something. Maybe you could even pre pre-schedule them for 99 years or something. But yeah, and we also have in micro credentials that we're offering ways to take it with you, even if you lose Pressbooks, like show you how to export it in the 85 different ways you're able to export it, and just take your work with you, and give you some ideas of where you could put it if you are leaving the Pressbooks space.
Yeah, and I share that with my students too, just like how awesome it is just to download a PDF of that and have it on your phone. You never know when conversation might strike. You might want to show somebody something, and you can have an offline version of it too. Okay, yeah, I think we've got one more slide and then we'll have a couple minutes for questions. So I know
Yeah.
many of you are jealous of the Pressbooks license, and so we wanted to just also mention a few alternatives. One that you might want to check out, which is built on WordPress, but it's a customized version of WordPress, is called the Knowledge Commons. It was formerly the Humanities Commons, but this is an online repository, and what's really great is students can build the site on there and have an ad-free version of WordPress. That's something I'm really sensitive. Like, you have all this awesome content. I don't want you to, like, people to have to scroll past like diet pill ads when they're looking at your awesome content, right? So that's a great free option that you might consider, and that's available for undergraduate and graduate students. And you could even make a portfolio yourself as an instructor.
And there are, I don't know if you've ever seen that website Alternative 2. You can go there and type in Pressbooks. It'll give you a bunch of options. But I found a few other ones. There's Medium, which is an online publication and blogging tool. Notion, which is a content organization and knowledge sharing. It's a pretty neat tool. Looks a little different, but you could do a very similar thing. Figma, Amber, you mentioned that. I see it's about collaborative design. I don't know much about it, but that looks interesting. WordPress and Google Sites, of course. And then Substack is a newsletter creation kind of thing that all these could be used in a similar way, I think.
Yeah, and there's like lots of out of the box ways to use them. Two things I'll point out too with Figma and Notion, they offer EDU accounts. So students have access to all of the paid features for free, and might be really attractive for them to check out as well. And yeah, Figma is really big for graphic designers. So might be something for them to check out. Okay, look, we're right on time, 2 minutes for questions. So I would love to open it up for questions, any questions that we haven't answered.
There's
Um,
one, if you don't mind, I'll grab it.
yeah.
Esther, could you access the portfolios for assessment? So my kind of vision for the ebook one's own was that uh, assessments you were asked to do anyway that fit as showcase work would be put in to your ebook. Whether or not you have already submitted it as a PDF or a Word or whatever, it can also live in there. So you could, a student, submit a piece of your portfolio, just submit the URL to that page to an assignment if it fits the instructions. So it can be used many times to assess. So
Yeah.
I think
And
it's kind of that's a piece of the bigger picture, I think.
in our department too, we have a kind of an internal list of all the students' ePortfolio links too, and we do sometimes use that for assessment as well. We have different things where we have to show like proof of student work and things like that, and it's great because it's curated and it's what they think was the best samples of their work, and so that's really fun for us to be able to use that for storytelling too. I saw one other question. Oh, so we need to have an institutional license for Pressbooks. I think Steele talked a little bit about that. So I think we're at time. We'll hang around if you have any other questions, but I'll put the resources again for all of this in chat. I've got yours in here too, Terry. So I'll just
Oh
paste it
yeah.
as one. So feel free to grab that, copy and paste it, and bookmark some of those pages. We'd love to continue the conversation. If you have other great ways to use ePortfolios or ideas for how to do a template, please shoot us an email or connect with us on LinkedIn.
Thanks, everybody. And thanks,
Yeah.
Amber.
Yeah.
It
Thank you,
was
Terry.
great working with you.